Did you know that for over a century, one of the most valuable exports in Europe was not gold or grain or wool, but a slimy, blood-drinking creature gathered by wading barefoot into freezing marshes, using nothing but your own legs as bait? You are standing knee-deep in a bog before sunrise, and the cold has already gone past your ankles and settled into your bones in a way that no longer feels like weather. It feels permanent, like something the marsh has decided to keep. Your skirt is tied high above your knees, soaked through anyway by the time you have taken 10 steps into the water. You have been doing this since you were 9 years old, since your mother first led you out here in the gray half-light and showed you how to stand perfectly still in the shallows and wait, the way you wait for anything worth having. This is what you do. You are a leech gatherer, one of thousands of poor women and children across Ireland, Britain, and the marshlands of Eastern Europe, whose entire livelihood depends on convincing a small, patient creature to bite you on purpose, again and again, until your legs are a map of old scars nobody outside this trade would ever understand. The physicians in the towns cannot get enough of what you catch. Bloodletting is the treatment doctors reach for before almost anything else, and leeches do the job more precisely than any blade a barber surgeon might use, drawing exactly the amount of blood a physician wants and stopping cleanly when they are full. A single leech, sold to the right dealer on the right day, can be worth more, pound for pound, than the bread your family eats that night. You wade in the water with your sister beside you, 4 years younger, still learning to stand still the way stillness has to be learned. She flinches the first time a leech attaches to her calf, a small, sharp intake of breath, and you reach over without looking and press your hand briefly against her shoulder, the way your mother once did for you, because flinching drives the others away, and a wasted morning is a morning your family cannot afford. The leeches sense the warmth of your skin before they see anything at all. One by one, they attach themselves along your calves and ankles, and you feel each new arrival as a small, cold pressure that turns, within a moment, into something closer to suction. 3 on the left leg, 2 more on the right. You count without meaning to, the way you count anything that matters to your survival. You do not pull them off immediately. Pulling too soon wastes the trip entirely, because a leech that is fed only part way is worth less to a buyer than one taken at exactly the right moment, gorged, but not yet dangerously so. You have learned to judge, by the precise shade a leech turns as it fills, darkening from a thin gray-brown into something closer to black, exactly when to peel it from your skin with a practiced flick of the thumbnail before it takes more than either of you can afford to lose. Some mornings you gather 20 between you. Some mornings, when the marsh has already been worked hard by other families from your village, you gather barely enough to justify the walk home, wet and shivering, with a nearly empty pail. The leeches near the towns grew scarce years ago, hunted out by decades of collectors doing exactly what you are doing now, which is why you and your sister walk further into the bog each season than your mother ever had to walk in hers. Your sister goes pale in the water one gray morning in her second year of this work, swaying slightly on her feet in a way that makes your stomach drop before your mind fully understands why. She has taken too many bites too close together, more blood drawn from her small frame than her body can spare in a single morning, and you get her out of the water fast, wrapping her in the dry shawl you always carry for exactly this reason, though you have never once needed it before now. She recovers within the hour, color returning to her face as she sits on the bank, eating the heel of bread you had saved for yourself. You do not tell your mother how close it came. Some mornings a person learns not to say aloud. You have heard of worse. A woman 2 villages over was bitten in a place that would not close properly, the wound growing hot and swollen over the following days, and she did not survive the fever that followed within the fortnight. You know this story the way everyone in this trade knows a version of it. Passed between collectors, like a warning that changes nothing about whether you return to the water the next morning. Because the 2 shillings and 6 pence you earn for 100 leeches is more than most other work available to you pays in a week, and your family eats because of what this marsh gives you, cold and slow and 1 bite at a time. A merchant arrives in your village twice a month now, a broad man with ink-stained fingers who buys up every collector's catch and keeps the leeches alive in barrels lined with damp moss and river water for the long journey to the city. He tells you, one afternoon, while weighing your basket against a set of small iron measures, that leeches from these marshes are being shipped as far as France now, that the demand has grown so enormous that entire networks of dealers exist purely to move leeches from wet, poor corners of the countryside into the hands of wealthy physicians who have never once, in their entire careers, stood in cold water themselves. You think about that sometimes, waiting in the marsh at dawn with your sister a few feet away, her stillness better now, more practiced than it was a year ago. A physician in a warm consulting room somewhere you will never see, applying a single creature to a nobleman's arm, paid a fee larger than your family will earn in a month, while you stand exactly where you are standing now, feeling the cold pressure of another bite settle onto skin already marked with the pale scars of 1,000 others before it. The marshes are emptier every year, and you notice it the way you notice everything that matters to your survival, in small, specific increments. A patch that gave you 6 leeches last spring gives you 2 this spring. The walk to reach untouched water grows by another quarter-mile each season until reaching the good ground before the other families arrive becomes its own kind of race, one your legs, cold and marked as they are, have gotten very good at running. You do not know, standing in the water this particular morning, that the creatures covering these shallows in numbers nobody has ever bothered to count will, within a few decades, be hunted nearly to nothing across this stretch of countryside, emptied out by the very trade that has kept your family fed for 3 generations. You do not know that prices will climb sharply as leeches grow harder to find, making collectors like you and your sister more valuable for a time, rather than less, before physicians themselves, decades from now, begin to lose faith in bloodletting as a cure for almost anything at all, and the demand that shaped your entire life quietly disappears within a single generation. You only know the cold this morning, and the weight settling onto your legs one bite at a time, and your sister's breathing beside you, steady now, and the walk home ahead of you both, carrying in a shared wooden pail everything your bodies were able to give away and still survive. The sun has not yet cleared the tree line. You will stand here, together, another hour before you are done.